Two businesses opened their doors in the same month. The first was a sleek tech startup, an open-plan office, exposed brick, investors on the phone, a launch party with champagne and a stage. Everyone there knew they were watching the next big thing. The second was a laundromat. A small, unglamorous laundromat on a corner, humming fluorescent lights, rows of machines, a bleach and detergent smell in the air. Nobody threw a party for the laundromat. 10 years later, one of these two businesses is gone, vanished. The office emptied out, the website went dark, the investors wrote it off. The other one is still there, same corner, same machines, still quietly collecting money month after month, exactly like it did on day one. You already know which one died. It was the startup. And every single person at that champagne launch party would have laughed if you'd told them the boring laundromat down the street would outlive them by a decade. But it did. And here's what matters. That wasn't luck. It wasn't a fluke. It was structural. The laundromat was built to survive in a way the startup never was. Now, you've seen the pitch. It's everywhere. The videos, the posts, the gurus. Buy a laundromat, buy a car wash, buy a self-storage unit. Get rich with boring businesses that nobody brags about at parties. And they always wave the same magic number at you, a 90% success rate, sometimes 95. Businesses that, they promise, almost never fail. And here's the strange thing. That 90% number, it's real. You can find it quoted everywhere. But it is also quietly lying to you, because it is not measuring what you think it's measuring. There is a trick hidden inside that statistic, and the people selling you courses on these businesses are counting on you never noticing it. Once you see it, you'll understand these businesses better than half the people making money teaching them. So we're going to do three things. We're going to expose what that 90% number is really counting. We're going to break down the three structural reasons these boring businesses are so genuinely hard to kill. And we're going to find the hidden cost buried inside every single one of them, the price nobody in those slick videos ever mentions. Because impossible to kill and makes you rich are two very different promises. And by the end, you'll know exactly which one you're actually being sold. Let's start with the number, because everything else falls apart if you get this wrong. Here is a fact that should stop the 90% pitch cold. According to the actual data on American small businesses, roughly half of all of them are gone within 5 years. Half. That's the real baseline for starting a business in this country. A coin flip at best. So how on earth does a laundromat get a 95% survival rate when the average business barely clears 50? The answer is the trick, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. That high number is not measuring people who started a laundromat. It's mostly measuring people who bought one that was already running. Sit with that, because it changes everything. Buying a laundromat that has been quietly printing money on the same corner for 20 years is almost guaranteed to keep working. The hard part, proving that people will show up and pay, was already solved by the previous owner over 2 decades. But opening a brand new laundromat on the wrong corner with the wrong machines in a town that didn't need one, that fails just like anything else. The 90% isn't measuring the business. It's measuring the fact that you're buying a survivor. This is the sleight of hand. The guru shows you the survival rate of established, purchased businesses and lets you quietly assume it applies to you, starting fresh with your savings and a dream. It's not technically a lie. It's a true number, carefully framed to sell you a $1,500 course or an acquisition program. And it works because 90% success feels like a safety net, when really it's a description of what you're buying, not a promise about what you'll do. And this exact same pitch runs in every English-speaking market. In the United States, it's laundromats and car washes. In the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada, it's the same essential, unglamorous businesses, the same optimistic survival numbers, and the same crowd of people selling you the dream of owning one. The accent changes. The trick doesn't. So let's throw the marketing number out entirely and ask the real question. Forget 90%. The question that actually matters is this: what makes these specific, boring businesses so genuinely hard to kill in the first place? Because that part is real, and it comes down to 3 structural reasons. Learn these 3, and you'll be able to spot a truly unkillable business anywhere on Earth, and spot a fake, boring business pitch the second someone opens their mouth. Reason number 1 that these businesses are so hard to kill. The demand for them barely moves, no matter what the economy does. Economists have a word for this: inelastic, and it is the closest thing to a force field a small business can have. Think about washing your clothes. When the stock market crashes, you don't stop wearing clothes. When a recession hits and you cut every luxury you have, the dinners out, the subscriptions, the vacations, you still need clean clothes for work on Monday. For the tens of millions of renters, students, and city dwellers who have no washer in their home, the laundromat isn't optional. It's infrastructure. And infrastructure doesn't get canceled when times get hard. That is why these businesses are called recession-resistant. The demand underneath them is bolted to a basic human need, not to how confident people feel about the economy. Let's put real numbers on the laundromat, because they're better than you'd guess. A typical one pulls in around $270,000 a year in revenue, keeping roughly 16% as profit. It's largely hands-off. Most laundromat owners have 2 employees or fewer, and in the right hands, it scales. There's a well-known operator who took a single, struggling laundromat and built it into a chain doing over $1.8 million a year at 50% margins, just by adding wash and fold service and card payments. He didn't invent anything. He took something unkillable and made it bigger. Now look at self-storage, which runs on the exact same force field. People pay to store their stuff in a good economy, and here's the twist. They store even more of it in a bad one, because when money gets tight, people downsize into smaller homes and need somewhere to put everything that no longer fits. Self-storage is semi-passive. It can be monitored remotely, and its demand doesn't rise and fall with confidence. It's structural. Bad times don't empty the units. Sometimes they fill them. And this force field doesn't stop at the American border. A laundromat in London, a storage unit in Sydney, a coin laundry in Toronto, they all sit on the same bedrock of inelastic, essential demand. People everywhere need clean clothes and a place to put their things, in every currency, in every economy. The need is human, not national. But before you go buy a laundromat tomorrow morning, there is a price hidden inside every one of these businesses. A cost that never appears in the 90% pitch, never shows up in the highlight reel. And it's the exact thing that decides whether unkillable turns out to be a blessing or a beautifully disguised trap. Hold on to that, because we come back to it, and it's the most important part of this whole video. Reason number 2 is the one that actually explains that 90% number from earlier. And it's the reason the smartest people in this game almost never start from scratch. Here it is. You buy the business. you don't build it. When you launch a startup, you're making a terrifying bet. You're betting that a product nobody has ever paid for will find customers who don't exist yet. That's the bet that fails half the time. But when you buy an established laundromat or a car wash that's been running for 15 years, that entire question, will anyone actually pay for this, has already been answered. The previous owners spent a decade proving it, and you're buying the proof. You're not buying a hope, you're buying a track record. And the economics of that are quietly beautiful. These businesses are typically bought for a low multiple, somewhere around 2 to 4 times their annual profit, with cash flow that lands in your account from the very first month. You can often get in with a down payment of $25,000 to $100,000, using a government-backed loan that only requires about 10% down, and sometimes the seller finances part of it themselves. You're not gambling your savings on a dream. You're buying a machine that already runs and using the machine's own money to help pay for it. Look at what that makes possible. There's an operator who scaled a car wash business to nearly $6 million a year in revenue at over 20% margins, and he did it with one boring superpower: standardized systems. The car wash is easy to systematize precisely because it's simple. And being simple is what makes it easy to buy, easy to run, and easy to copy across locations. The thing that makes it boring is the exact thing that makes it work. Or take vending machines. One operator built a vending route pulling in $700,000 a year, working 2 days a week. It grows through volume, not complexity. You add machines, not headaches. And here's the part almost nobody mentions. The business itself is the asset. A vending route can be sold for 1 to 2 times its annual revenue. You don't just earn from it, you can build it up and sell the whole thing, like livestock you fattened. And this is why the returns look almost unfair on paper. These boring businesses routinely generate 20 to 50% annual returns, compared to the 7 to 10% you'd expect from the stock market, with 30 to 40% cash-on-cash returns in a good deal. Not because they're exciting, precisely because they're not. They get bought cheap, they throw off cash immediately, and nobody's bidding the price up because nobody at a dinner party wants to brag that they own a laundromat.
Reason number 3 is the quietest of the 3 and the easiest to overlook. These businesses have almost no moving parts. And in business, every moving part is a thing that can break. A laundromat doesn't need a team of 30. 70% of laundromat owners run their business with 2 employees or fewer, and plenty run them semi-absent, checking in remotely, collecting the money, keeping the machines fed. Compare that to a restaurant, which needs chefs, servers, a manager, suppliers, a health inspector's blessing, and a dozen things that can collapse on any given night. The boring business strips almost all of that away. Fewer employees, fewer suppliers, fewer decisions, fewer ways for a human being to accidentally sink the whole thing. A business with few moving parts is a business that's very hard to break by accident. Simplicity itself is a form of armor. So there they are, the 3 reasons these businesses refuse to die. Inelastic demand you can't switch off. A proven track record you buy instead of build. And so few moving parts that there's almost nothing to break. Put those together and you get something genuinely close to unkillable. But now, the hidden cost. The price buried inside every one of these businesses that the highlight reels never show you. And it's simple. Hard to kill is not the same as makes you rich. These businesses have a low ceiling. Remember that average laundromat, $270,000 in revenue, keeping about 16%? That's a solid, durable living. It is not the rocket ship LinkedIn promised you. You will almost certainly survive. You will almost certainly not become a billionaire. The very stability that protects you on the downside also caps you on the upside. And there's a second half to that cost. Semi-passive is not passive. The machine still breaks at 2 in the morning. The attendant still quits with no notice. A pipe still bursts, and it's still your phone that rings. You didn't buy a money printing button you press once. You bought a job. A quieter, more durable, lower stress job than most, but a job. Anyone who tells you it's fully passive is selling you the next course. So here's the honest trade, laid out plainly. The boring business hands you resilience and takes your ceiling in exchange. The sexy startup hands you a shot at the sky and takes your survival odds in exchange. Neither one is smarter. They are opposite bets. One is built to never die. The other is built to maybe, possibly, become enormous. And the entire game is knowing which bet you're actually making. Because if these things are this hard to kill, but capped this low, the real question stops being about the businesses at all. It becomes about who's buying them and why. So who actually wins with these businesses and who gets burned? Because the answer was never in the business. It was always in the buyer. Here's who wins. The person who buys an established survivor, not the one who opens a shiny new one on a hope. The person who does real due diligence, who checks the books, the location, the machines before they hand over $1. The person who wants durable, boring cash flow and genuine resilience and is honest enough with themselves to not expect a rocket. The person who pays a sane multiple instead of overpaying because a guru got them excited. For that person, the 90% is real because they went out and bought a survivor on purpose with their eyes open. And here's who gets burned. The person who starts one from scratch on the wrong corner and discovers that a brand new laundromat fails like anything else. The person who overpays at the top of the hype, wiping out years of returns on day one. The person who believed semi-passive meant passive and quietly resents the 2 a.m. phone calls. And the person who wanted the rocket ship bought the roach instead and gave up the moment they hit the ceiling. The unkillable business fails exactly one way: when someone buys it expecting it to be something it was never designed to be. So go back to those two businesses from the very beginning. The startup that threw the champagne party and died, and the laundromat that threw nothing and lived. Now you know it was never luck. The startup reached for the sky, inelastic demand it didn't have, a track record it hadn't earned, 100 moving parts waiting to break. The laundromat reached for nothing and stood on all three, a need that never switches off, a proven history, and almost nothing that could fail. It didn't win because it was better. It won because it was built to survive, and the startup was built to soar. Only one of those is a promise the world actually keeps. And this is true in every market on Earth. A laundromat in Ohio, a storage yard in Manchester, a car wash in Brisbane, a vending route in Calgary. Same three forces, same low ceiling, same guru promising 90%. The structure is human. It doesn't care what passport you hold. So here's the truth underneath all of it. The boring business was never about getting rich. It was about being almost impossible to kill. The startup reaches for the sky and usually falls. The laundromat never reaches for anything.
which is the exact reason it's still standing 10 years later. You were never really choosing between two businesses. You were choosing between two bets: the small chance of becoming enormous or the near certainty of simply surviving. And nobody waving a 90% success rate in your face ever tells you the quiet part: that surviving comes with a ceiling, and getting rich comes with a coin flip. So which one is your bet? The rocket or the roach? Be honest. Tell me in the comments. And subscribe, because next time we take apart another business the internet is quietly lying to you about. One asset, real numbers, and the part nobody puts in the highlight reel.